We're back, boys. We're back in the building, baby. And we have a special guest in here with us. But I'm not going to tell you who it is first. But first, what we're going to do is we're going to let you guys know we are now no longer B-Cut. I know.
No longer?
A name change has come to the studio. Me and Josh have been the brainchilds of this new name change. We are now Rooted MMA.
Rooted MMA.
That is the new name. No longer B-Cut. For all the original listeners, of course, we'll always go by B-Cut. But Rooted MMA is now the new name. It's a new year. You got to have a new name. And with that, we want to kick off our very first episode of a new series that we're going to do this year called the Octagon Chronicles. That's why we have our special guest in here today. But before we introduce our special guest, everybody, of course, got to do what you got to do on YouTube. Like, subscribe, do all that crazy stuff because we need you guys to know anytime we set out new content, anytime you guys want to check out new episodes of the show. You got to get notified somehow, and it's going to be by subscribing, okay?
Please do subscribe.
It's hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It's really easy, but yet somehow so hard for many people. But in the studio,
Take it easy.
For the Octagon Chronicles, very first episode,
I'm
super pumped to have the man himself, Mr. 6-0, heavyweight, number one heavyweight in Nebraska, for sure, Nyle Bartling. What's going on, my man?
Nothing much. Ready to enjoy my evening with you fellas.
Yes, sir.
Well, I
Thanks
appreciate
for coming on.
Yes,
I really
sir.
appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you for coming on the show. Hopefully, and we're doing the show at night, obviously. So, what was your day like today? Did you do training today? Obviously, you got a big event coming up next month. So, what's going on?
Solid intro, Blake, by the way.
Huh?
Solid intro.
I appreciate it. Thank you, man. Hey, I try hard, man. I try.
That was good.
It's not my first
That was
rodeo.
Really good. Got the chills on my back.
Oh.
No, I just this morning I got up and went and worked out, lifted for a little bit, and then rolled into. We had 10 o'clock practice this morning, and went in, got some striking in. Was working with Ugly Man Joe for a while, so that was fun.
Joseph Holmes got a fight coming up January 15th in the UFC. So check him out. And you trained with him today and Zach?
Yeah, Zach Cummings helped in on that.
Okay.
And the rest of the gang, but Zach threw in a few helpful tips, along the way. He's always fun to be around. He's just getting back to it, and
Yeah.
he's a good guy to have around.
Do you have a normal, I guess, sparring partner that you do? Do you do a lot of sparring when you're training? Do you guys just roll more? Like, what's kind of your...
I mean, they're always cooking something different in the kitchen every day.
Yeah.
This depends. There's a set schedule where, we're going like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You're going to get 5 rounds in the morning usually. And then there's evening sessions too. So we're doing that. And actually, usually I kind of enjoy Thursday, Fridays because we don't have the evening session. And I can go try to be like what my roots are. I went hunting this evening. I deer hunted until dark.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you were out hunting right before the show?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
And you do a
obviously.
podcast on Thursday night.
There we go. There you go. So I'm assuming, obviously, weren't successful?
No, I wasn't successful. I saw a lot of deer, but I didn't get anything killed.
Are you so I also hunt, but I'm assuming you've had quite a few hours on me and maybe even years on the hunting side. Are you a shoot 'em if I see him, or are you more selective with your shot?
Are you a bow guy?
I'm a little bit. If dead's dead, was what I've always said. So
That's
dead's
true.
dead.
That's
like
true.
there's people that'll harp on a guy for they're like, oh, you're not a bow hunter if you're rifle hunting.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm chasing a deer, 20 days out of the season with my bow, and then I get a chance to throw a rifle in my hand and I can get him killed, dead's dead.
Hell yeah.
So I'm kind of a horde hunter too. I'm pretty picky.
Okay.
I can kill something every day I'm in the stand. But
True.
I'm
That
picky.
is true.
I'm a trophy hunter. We'll put it that way.
Okay. So what's your biggest buck you've ever pulled in?
The biggest deer that I've shot, probably scored right around 175 gross scored, and I've killed.
No idea what that means.
Yeah, a lot of people. I've killed. We probably got 30 deer over 150 at home on the wall between me and my brother. My brother's an avid hunter. He travels all around the country, and
Really?
he killed a 200-inch mule deer this year, a
Jesus
90-inch
Christ.
antelope, and he gets it done. He killed a bull elk, a pretty good one in Wyoming. So
Hell
and
yeah.
he's doing that all on his own, public hunting. So it's a
Does he
lifestyle.
just do strictly public land, or does he also have private land that he runs on as well? Or?
Most of it's public, he doesn't buy any leases or anything like that. We've been lucky enough that he's made connections with a few guys, but
That's good.
a lot of it's usually this public on your own. So he's out there and living off the fat of the land for a few days.
Hell yeah.
Link them up with the Midwest Outdoors guys.
I was gonna say, so
Yeah,
I produce for a show called the Midwest Outdoor. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the show at all, but
No.
that's okay.
No, I'm not. But
It's-
he'd
it's
be a
a-
good one to
it's
have.
it's a really good hunting and fishing show on Saturday mornings for 8:10. But those guys, I mean, they got Fred Ramsey, who's the Waterfowl Hall of Fame for Missouri and St. Joe, and I mean Mark, who's a fisherman, but they hunt.
Very cool.
They don't do as much buck hunting though.
Crappie
so
in the.
we might have to get you on to the Midwest Outdoor Guys show.
Yeah,
That'd be
man.
crazy.
that'd be fun.
That'd be
I'd have
killer.
Fun on there. Yeah.
That'd
And
be killer.
my brother, he's running around. You know, he's got 2 kids at home, but you know, he's got a nasty mullet right now. You know,
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
living
So
the
he's-
lifestyle with it.
Business in the front, party in the back.
Yeah,
What's his name?
Dylan.
Dylan Bartling.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shout out.
Now, did Dylan, when he found out originally when you started doing some fighting, did he want to do any fighting? Did that come from you two fighting at all, or how did that play
I mean,
out?
I think our bar fight record with each other is 2-2. Like, there's still
Oh
a
my
tally
God.
going. It's usually whoever was drunk or got their ass kicked.
Gotcha. That typically is how that works.
I have some friends like that. I saw like on a Instagram story, like recently that you posted. Like, did you guys get in an argument and you made him walk 21 miles home? Is this a true story?
It was 19 miles home. Yeah, we got into
Jesus
it.
Christ.
We were hauling hogs back home. I was back. What was it? 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. I'm not. It was recently around Christmas time. I was back, and I plan on going to see my mom in Wyoming. She lives out in the mountains, and we were gonna go do some snowmobiling out there. And I have this fight lined up, and you know, me and my brother are
Big
hauling
fight.
hogs. Yeah, big fight lined up, and you know, we're headed into Kansas to sell some hogs, and he started chirping. He's like, I really don't think you should go to Wyoming this weekend. And we'd have our beef too about this hog stuff, like, you know, just business, you know. And
You'd have beef about hogs.
yeah. But so we were just kind of spatting about that, and then one thing led to another, and he was sitting there harping on me about not being at practice, you know, them couple days. He's like, that's when you're going to excel, that you're going to pass these
Yeah.
guys. And one thing led to another. We actually kind of started throwing some hands in the vehicle, and I was driving, and my brother's a big dude.
Oh my
you know,
gosh.
he's 260, and he finally just said something along the lines of, he's like, pull over. He's like, let's get out and settle this. And when he got out, I just left him on the side of
Gunned
the
it,
road.
just
yeah, left him. You know, it was cold out, you know, but he had warm enough clothes on, but he didn't have socks inside of his Nike. He had high tops on, Nike high tops on, and
That's his mistake.
his feet were blistered to hell. But you know, is what it is. He didn't. We were laughing about it the next day. You know, that's how we are.
Hell
You
yeah.
get into it. It's brotherly love. He wants the best for me. You know, and it
Exactly.
turned to being the best decision I did. You know what I mean? I stayed focused, and I feel good. And it went really well.
Yeah, you said it's nice to have someone that like really cares and is invested
Oh, yeah.
in your career, like you're and that's passionate about that. So that's a really good relationship
Yeah,
to
and I
have.
don't-
But
you guys
19
are-
miles, man.
That is a long.
And
That's a
he
long
was,
lesson.
He was too proud to call anyone too. You know?
Really?
I mean, he's not going to call anyone on the phone like, "Hey, come pick me up." He's going to keep to himself. I heard that he sent out some pretty good like Snapchat stories though on the way home. Like
None to you though.
Yeah, none to me. No,
You
none
got to
to me.
document the journey.
Yeah, he did. He documented the journey home, and he's a kick, man. He's a hoot. He's really fun to talk to.
So speaking of fighting, and obviously you guys are avid hunters, we have to talk about the big elephant in the room.
Yeah.
The reason
The grizzly bear is Nyle.
The
But
the
elephant in the
grizzly
room
bear is Nyle. Yeah, he's not the elephant. No. Even though he's the heavyweight. No. Man's chiseled grizzly bear. But the shotgun story.
Yeah, the shotgun story.
Your foot.
Yep.
I need you to tell me in
You
great
have-
detail about exactly what the fuck happened.
You have 4 toes on which foot?
I got 5, but
You have 5
it
now?
looks like
Or you-
4.
Okay.
I mean, when they set him back, one's on top of the other, so the doctor didn't.
Oh,
do
so they're
too
just
hard a
hugging each
job.
other.
Yeah,
Got a little hug
and I
foot.
actually broke one this week, I think, in practice, and I really don't have feeling there, so it's all jagged up and it's
cut that
black
out.
and blue. So
We don't want to let
you
Bubba
don't want to,
Grant
don't want to
know,
give
you
Bubba
know,
any
so-
any type of not that I think he'll be able to use it, but
no, that's
so
all right.
so what exactly lay this story out for us, because I remember when I first heard this story, and originally I guess you essentially, for those who don't know, Niles shot himself
Let him tell
in
the
the
story.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
tell the
let him
story.
tell the
Tell the
story.
Yeah,
story.
heck yeah.
Tell the story.
So it's just another day. Me and my brother had been running around turkey hunting all day. I'd actually shot a turkey already that day, and
Gobble gobble, bitch.
yeah, that's right. We were headed out to deliver some pigs. Actually, this is at the beginning of the pandemic. It was in April, and I had just won a fight recently in February, and at
Were
the
you
time,
2-0, 3-0?
I think I was 3-0 at the time, and I was 3-0 at the time and had a lot of things rolling, and I was at 205 at the time, and you know, at the time back home, like, I think we got you a Contender Series fight. That was kind of the talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Already, I'm like, holy
Damn.
cow, things are going good.
Yeah.
And I was in the best shape of my life at the time. You know, I was cut up and, like, felt great. And we hopped in we went turkey hunting that day, and then we were hopping in the vehicle because it's pandemic. You know, we had started selling pigs during the pandemic and to this individual people because the packing plant shut down. So we were going to deliver some pigs, but on the way we were going to just throw the gun in with us, and if we see anything on the way, we were going to knock on the door to see if we could get some permission to shoot some birds. And well, Dylan's like, well, if the gun was jammed, I was like, all right, I'll take care of it or whatever. I'll run inside. I said, just get the truck ready. We'll get the pigs on. And when I run inside, I grabbed the shotgun, and it's been jammed before.
Yeah.
So I just took the screwdriver and I rested on my foot on the concrete.
No.
And just was jiggling it back and forth. The empty kicked out, and it just cycled all the way through. Boom! And, you know, the next instant, you know, my brother was just in the garage, and he was out around the corner, so he heard that. And, you know, instantly I looked at it, and, you know, it really didn't hurt. You know, the shot
You're probably
was
in shock,
nothing.
yeah.
Yeah, it was just like, I was just like, the only thing out of my mouth, first words were, oh, fuck. Like, that's all I remember. You know, I was like, oh, fuck. Well, my truck was like 85 yards down from my dad's garage. It was on the garage floor. There's actually like in the concrete there, you can see where my shotgun actually went off in the concrete there, and the wad went all the way through, so it kind of looks like a cross, you know, on my foot now. And when it went through, like, I had my hunting boots on, which I'm always
Thank
rocking.
God.
I'm always
Thank
rocking
God, yeah.
Crocs. I got Crocs on right now. I usually hunt in Crocs, and I had boots on for the first time in a long time. And when it went off, you know, I was like, oh, fuck. I went sprint. I ran to my truck 85 yards, just shot myself, ran on it. I don't know.
And you said it didn't hurt.
No, it didn't.
Did it surprise the shit out of you more than anything?
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, you've been around. I literally have had a gun in the vehicle my whole life. You know what I mean? I always float around with one. It's just you know, that's how we were raised.
Of course.
You know? Always have one in there, and, you know, you get so comfortable around it, and then something like that happens. It's this
shocks
shit.
that, like, I can even understand the jolt that your body gets when you're just like, that was not supposed to happen, and I shouldn't have heard what I just heard. And yet now you're looking at your foot. Were you able to look through your foot? What was
Not at the time.
Because you had your boot on.
Yeah,
so.
the boot had actually taken back form over top. I'm like, oh, fuck, maybe this isn't that bad. I'm like, and then, like, I was running, like, my brother, like, was around the corner of the garage kind of with his head in like this. And he thought he didn't want to go in there because he didn't know what just happened. He knew it wasn't good. And I frickin' run past him. I said, we got to go to the fucking doctor now. Like, let's go. And, like, I sprinted, hopped in the truck, and I actually drove. Like, you know what I mean? We drove like 120 mile an hour on country roads the first 3 miles, and he finally just goes in passenger seat. He's like, I got to take over driving, man. He goes, if you pass out or your adrenaline wears off, he's like, we're both dead. He goes, I don't need to go out like this. So we're calling cops and stuff on the way just to let them know, like, hey, like, we're coming into the hospital. Like,
coming in hot.
Yeah, coming in real hot. So we get there, and, like, he dumps me out or whatever, and I just run in, like, didn't even think about it, still running on it, you know, run in, and, you know, the whole time, the only thing I could think of was, like, holy shit, I just fucking ruined my whole fighting career. Like, nothing else mattered.
Yeah.
And I was super worried.
Was that a tough time for you? Like,
what's that?
Was it a tough time for you, like, dealing with it after?
He hasn't got to that part in the story yet.
Not yet.
He haven't got to that part in the story yet.
Well, the thing is, the thing I was more scared of anything, like, it wasn't even, like, I knew that I'm mentally tough enough that, like, nothing affects me ever. I've always been like that. If I screw up, I've bounced back, you know, 10 times steps ahead. You know, I always have, and I've always been like that. Well, I was so worried about what my dad was going to say because, you know, we've been about gun safety our whole life, you know, and, like, I'll just remember the first thing, I'm laying on the emergency room, and, like, they haven't taken my boot off, and they're just getting ready to take it off. And one of the sheriffs in there, Dan Lionberger is his name, and I'm good family friends with him. Like, when he heard that it was me, like, he was this, like, you know, he came to my fights and stuff, so he's super worried about it. And I was like, I'm such a fucking idiot. I can't believe I did this. He's like, the whole time, like, just stay calm. You know, I mean, I was thankful that he was there because he kept me so calm, you know, the entire time that I was there. And when I took it off, I just told him, I said, when you see it, I said, you let me know if it's going to be okay or how bad it is. And when they took my boot off, he goes, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. And then from that point on, it was kind of okay. You know, I was okay with it. I was like, oh, shit, maybe everything's going to be okay. And then my dad gets there, and the first thing out of his mouth is like, "What the fuck were you thinking?" Like, that's the only thing he said. Like, "What the fuck were you thinking?" You really did. I don't know what it is. Something along the lines of, I just remember that. What the fuck were you thinking? You know you don't put, you know what I mean? Just normal shit. And he was just pissed off at the time because I had a lot of stuff going for me.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we got to the small town hospital, and the stupidest decision we ever did. Like, they took care of me, but, you know, then we waited around 45 minutes for an ambulance, and then I ended up, I did that like at 4 o'clock. I didn't end up in like surgery getting work done until 4 o'clock in the morning. So like, and it was during the pandemic, so no one could come visit me.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing, like, so it was me on my own, and like these doctors, you know, like everyone had to figure out what we wanted, you know, and like I said, well, I really think I have a promising fight career. Just make it so that I can use my foot again. And like when they got into x-rays and stuff, like it's so crazy because I was so drugged up, like I don't really remember anything. And it's like just coming in and out, and like, so I had a lot of time to think. Like, it's crazy that happened, but it was the most relaxing 5 days I'd ever had. Like after that, like the pain, you know, was there, but it was just kind of relaxing because you're on your own. I had a lot of time to think of it on my own. I was never overcome with anything, you know, and, just mentally, you know, I just told myself from that point forward that, you know, this is just going to be another hurdle that you can overcome. You know, you start, and when you get in the hospital, man, like you start going through this stuff, you realize how lucky you have it. Cause like, yeah, you just shot yourself in the foot. Well, that guy next to you just, you know what I mean? He came in and his fucking head's hanging on by a thread. And like, you know what I mean? Like, this guy's not going to be able to talk again. Or like, you know, this guy just lost both of his legs. Or, you know what I mean? Like, people that have diabetes are born with it. You know what I mean? Like, you start going and doing that stuff, and like the wound vac and all that, and like there's these guys that I'm sitting in there like, and I'm on crutches or whatever, and I have this thing on my foot, which was miserable. Like I really think I have a high pain tolerance, and like
We'll have to scoot you closer because
right,
these mics don't pick up
good.
too much,
But anyhow,
much deep.
But it's just like, you know, I felt like I had a high pain tolerance. And
Do you have a high pain tolerance? Like in
I
general?
really think I do. You know, I mean,
Okay.
I'm just saying that, but that wound vac thing, they tried changing that wound vac like 3 days. Like that wound had to be cleaned like I was put under surgery 3 times a week, like put under the knife, like 21 times, like within 7 weeks or something like that. 3 times a week, like was going in, like getting surgery every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I was getting surgery to get that wound vac cleaned and like changed out. Like it was just a vigorous process. And like they had my toes, they put these pins in, and the toes, like they'll never move again, you know what I mean? Like I don't know if it's solidified. Like my doctor, the crazy thing on top of it, like I don't know if I can say this, but my doctor ended up in fucking jail because he was high on like pills and got caught like slinging drugs out in the parking lot. So like I always question, like,
could they have done it better?
If we could have done something different, because how, like, I looked at it, I'm like, fuck, like, there's no way that this should be like this. And I always ask, like, are my toes going to be okay how they are? Well, now my toes sit on top of each other like this, and one's always, like, rubbed with an infection. You know what I mean? And they don't move. And, like,
neither of them move?
See, no.
Do you have feeling in either of them?
Just a little bit, not much. But it's so crazy, though. I just go on for it forever, you know, and it's just so crazy because...
What a story.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's just... The crazier thing is about the whole thing, when it was said and done, like, I'd been asking him, like, all these things, like, oh, no, you'll be good on it, you'll be good. Well, as soon as he went to jail, I get up and go and see next doctor because I had to get another, like, I wasn't done with my stuff yet, and he was in jail. And I get there, and the one doctor, I said, so, like, what are your chances, like, you think I can get up and move around on this and stuff like that? He, like, looked at me, he's like, are you crazy? Those toes are never going to move again. They're solidified. Like, they're just bone. Like, they grew bone back together. And then I was like, then why the hell did we keep them? You know what I mean? Like, I'm still at the point I might get one cut off, you know. It's just
might Ronnie Lott the whole situation. Just cut it off.
Crazy.
Be the first four-toe fighter in the UFC, maybe.
Yeah, maybe might be. So it's just a crazy story. But I learned a lot. And like I always say, looking back on it, it's the best thing that ever happened to me, because it got me out of, like, I had a great job. I was working on a hog farm back home, managing a hog farm at
Nebraska?
What's that? Back in Nebraska, yeah. I was managing a hog farm back in Syracuse, Nebraska. Action Pig was the name of it. And Dale Dammy and, like, the Niels family, you know, they took care of me really well. Like, they used to work my fight schedule around work, which you can't find that, like, especially livestock. Like, they'd let me come in and do chores in the morning, then they'd let me boogie off, like, to go practice and, you know, come back. And it was just I was managing it too. So, like, I was in charge of people, and, like, they were trusting me enough to, like, just, you know, go train. Go. Like, yeah, they were, like, supporting my dream. And then, like, I don't think if I would have shot myself, I would have never got out of that job, if that makes sense. Like, I'm really loyal, if that makes sense. And, like, if someone's treating me good, I'm never going to screw them over. And, like, I have a hard time walking away. And after I shot myself, like, they had to let me go. You know, I mean, I basically fired myself right there, you know.
Dang.
Fired is the proper
that's
word
right.
there.
So I got out of that, and then, you know, then it was the pandemic. So at the end of it, like, man, I couldn't have done it at a better time, because, you know, a lot of stuff was shut down. And I had a lot of time to, you know, just focus mentally, like, on what I wanted. And, like, once you do something that you, like, threaten, like, what you're able to do, and if you feel like you're never going to have something back, or, like, a life-threatening injury or something like that. Like, I don't know if mine was life-threatening, but it could have took away an awful lot if it was 3 inches the other way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Could have looked at I'm a lucky bastard for that. But, you know, you start looking at it that way, you're just like, man, like, you got to be thankful for everything you got. And then you really find out what you want to do, too. You know what I mean? You're like, you figure out what matters, and you really find out who really wants you around. You know what I mean? Who wants to be part of your life? And I found that out.
Who's checking up on you? Who's texting you?
Exactly.
Who's like, hey, so what is your thoughts about the future? Like, somebody who's actually, like, you like you said, you do find out who cares about you.
Yeah.
And when you're not necessarily always around.
Yeah, or when you're not riding that horse, you know, into the sunset, like, making it, you know, when you find out, when you hit rock bottom, you find out who the hell's going to be around, and you keep those people close, because they're going to ride her back out, you know, block everyone else out. And I found out a lot about myself, and like I said, it's one of the best things that ever happened to me. As crazy it sounds, but it's really turned a negative into a huge positive.
I think that's an amazing perspective, like, especially in the hospital, seeing people have it way worse than you. And then what makes it even a greater story is, you know, one of the reasons that, you know, we're here in this podcast is that you're 6-0 now. You were 3-0 when that happened. You're coming off of a rear naked choke against Max McNeely, and then a first-round knockout within 50 seconds of Anthony Garrett.
49 seconds.
49 seconds. I told Blake I was
And
got to give him credit for
phantom
49.
eye poke.
Phantom eye poke?
Phantom eye poke.
And you're scheduled to fight at FAC 12 in front of Dana White, February 6th. You are the main event. You could say that you're the reason that Dana White is there. Is that crazy to you, or you not play it as big as that because of what you went through?
Does
basically?
one other person in the stadium give any difference to how you would approach the fight, or does it weigh heavy on your soul at all?
Man, I don't know if people like my answer here, and it's always something. I've never built people up to be something different than me. We all breathe the same air, and, you know, we're all going to be 6 foot under someday, you know, believe it or not. I mean, you can't make anyone bigger than they are.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great opportunity. You know, I'm really excited for the opportunity. But if you start making stuff bigger than it is, you start putting on needed pressure on you, and you start getting focused on other stuff, all the wrong stuff, when you need to be focused on the basics and this going out and this focus on winning, focus on yourself.
Have you thought about, you know, if you do win, what happens? Like Contender Series, that was an opportunity at some point. Maybe Contender Series, you get that offer, or you get the UFC. Do you think to that point, or are you strictly focused on Bubba Grant, the Kansas Savage, February 6th?
I'm focused on Bubba Grant. You know, that's all you can look forward to. You start overlooking people, you start getting caught, you start getting beat, and then you're backtracking, fluttering through your career, trying to figure out what you did wrong. You know what I mean? And honestly, like, you know, Dana White's coming to town, but, you know, a lot of people out there, you know, being a small town guy, you know, you get all these guys that are critics, like, oh, dude, there's someone out there that's bigger than you and badder than you. And, like, they're surprised that this opportunities arise. Like, I've expected this. Like, the day I stepped in the Octagon, I've expected to be in the UFC. And if there's anything less than that, you know what I mean? Anything less than that, I shouldn't be here. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what drives me nuts, like, you know, about all this stuff, too. I mean, if you're winning fights, just you should stick around. Winners win, you know. I don't get how you can keep hanging on to guys that are losing fights or whatever, and, like, how is he staying in? Like, winners win.
100% agree with that. I don't know how just any fighting organization
Fired me up.
Doesn't even matter. How do you keep guys that are losing? I mean, yeah, I get that if maybe they have a big fanfare, you know, but guys that are still coming up that don't have that, you know, kind of Nate Diaz, rapport where you can lose and nobody cares that you lost. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of weird you keep guys around that might not do that. So, being undefeated now, you earlier you had talked about challenges. And I know you were a wrestler at the University of Nebraska and Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I started out my freshman year at Ohio State.
Okay, so what made you
The
want
Ohio State.
The Ohio State.
the University of Ohio, not the U, but the University
Ohio State
The
University.
University of
Ohio
Ohio
State
State.
University.
So you transferred your freshman year. What made you transfer from Ohio State to Nebraska?
Oh man, you guys are bringing up some skeletons. That's all right.
That's what we're here for, man.
Probably one of my biggest regrets I've ever had to date is transferring home.
Wow.
Why do you say that?
Because man, I was 18. You know, I'm from a town of 200 people, and I think if I'm right, Columbus, if you get out there, is it 40,000 students?
It's huge.
It's
yeah,
a lot.
Something-
But
It's
one of the
massive,
biggest
man.
schools.
Like, you know, I mean, there was more people in my campus, like in my dorm room, like in the Steve Hall I was in. There was more people like in three levels of that than my whole hometown. And, like, you know, I started getting homesick. But my family's so tight-knit with the farm. Like, we worked with each other every day. You know what I mean? Like, from the time I could walk up, and it was my first time away from home. And, like, no one was coming out and visiting, you know what I mean? Because, like, you know, livestock farm, you can't get away from that.
Yeah,
And,
not a whole lot of days off there.
Yeah, for sure, you know, and everyone's, you know, sometimes you got a woman back home or something like that when you're young. You're like, man, like, it's, you know, you just start missing everything back home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I
You're
was just,
homesick,
of course,
I was
yeah.
homesick as
Yeah.
hell. And my family, like, loved me enough to, like, well, if he's miserable, like, let's bring him home. You know what I mean? And I
And they'll tell you
was
that
just out
too,
there
yeah.
for a semester, and, like, I was undefeated.
You're 4-0, right?
Yeah, I was 4-0. Yeah, you did your research. I was
That's what he's here
4-0.
for.
I had to flex
And I
that.
had beat.
Now it's 4-0.
I had beat some damn good prospects. You know what I mean? And the only thing out there that kept me there is, like, the people out there were great. Don't get me wrong. Like, my teammates were out there. I still have, like, buddies from the team, and I was only there for 3 months. Like, the coaching staff, like Tom Ryan is, like, one of the best humans I've ever been around. Like, if you want to go look up someone that, like, can motivate you and, like, you know, do good things as a coach and just a great person, Tom Ryan's someone you need to go look into.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out to Tom Ryan. And then, like, Jay Jaggers was out there, and gosh dang it, I drew a blank right there. I had one more coach, and I just really appreciated him out there the whole time.
Yeah, of course.
And it's tough for me to talk about because
Yeah,
there's
that's
so much
fine.
regret coming home. You know, you come back home, and yeah, I was still at D1 school, Big Ten, but, like, I never, like, you know, it was all right, but they never, like, wanted me. You know,
Mhm.
I was, you know, it was tough, and I got through it though. That's another thing, you know. I just stayed on the team, and when I was out there, all I could do was wrestle. You know what I mean? Well, I got home, well, I could go to work then, and, like, you know, I kind of lost focus of what I was there for, and I think that's, like, me moved, like, you know what I mean? Then after my injury or whatever, you know, talking about the shotgun injury, we get back here, and I was like, man, what was I doing out there when I was really doing well? I had to move away from everything again. So, like, I moved down here, you know, I got a place, and, like, that's what I'm down here to do is fight, you know, and that's all I'm down here doing.
Who reached out to who? James Krause, or did you seek him out, or how did you get to Lee Summit, Missouri with these cats up here with 12
Man.
UFC fighters, maybe and more coming?
I was going to say,
Jesus.
there's
Yeah.
a litany of talent there.
Man, so this sounds crazy. Like, I've never even really talked to another gym or anything like that. But I was just going to move to Albuquerque down to Jackson Wink because I knew that there was, you know, good team down there. I was just going to
Known gym.
I was going to
Big
buy
fighters.
a place and just show up and be like, hey, this is who I am. Like, yeah, I mean, but Derek Minner, you know, fought
Yeah.
Grant,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
he started coming down here. Like, I trained, me and Derek, you know, I started training with Derek when I was like 17 before I got into college, you
I
know.
think Derek was the first guest we had on the show.
Derek was the first.
I think he was
guest,
the very
yeah.
first guest
Derek
we
was
ever
the
had
first
on
guest.
the show.
Oh, Derek Minner was?
Yeah.
So
Team
me,
in.
yeah, me and Derek grew up 15 miles from each other. Funny story,
Wow.
when I was
Really?
a 7th grader and 8th grader, Derek whooped my ass in a wrestling match because he was like a senior,
Mhm.
and I went to a tournament and we were in the same weight bracket, if you can believe that. I think I was like 119
can't.
as a 7th grader, and Derek whomped my ass, and like he always, you know, we give each other shit that
Of
he's
course.
a better wrestler than me because he beat
Can't
on
forget
me
it.
when I was immature, you know.
Even
Now-
though you're
now
like
do you flaunt
so
your-
much bigger than him now.
Do you
Yeah.
flaunt your state title now? You're like, yeah, I got a state title though. What's up?
No, he's this always been a great guy. Like, you know, he's a guy that'll ride to the top with me. He's been a
Yeah.
ride or die my whole career. You know, we've been through a lot of stuff with each other too, personally, and he's just been a good dude. And he kind of took the reins when I said I was going to go there. He's like, hey, man, like, I already talked to James about you. Like, I think just show up for practice. And, I showed up for practice down here, and it's funny because I had actually cut my hair into a mullet when I first got down
I remember
here.
that.
I don't know if you guys have seen it.
I was
but
there.
I think I was here for like a week, and everyone was giving me shit about it, and like I'm sure everyone's like, who the hell is this guy here with the mullet, And then it was getting in the way though. Like I don't know, I mad respect for guys that can rock a ponytail or the long hair, and I forgot how bad it was grappling. You know what I mean? Like you go to move and you get it caught,
just in your face.
It's everywhere. Yeah, and it's just getting like stomped on. I cut it, and I remember when I walked back in the next week, and James like, I'm glad you got rid of that hair. Now we're talking or something like that.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, he said, now you look representable or something like that. And then, I just really like Jason High. I really, funny thing is me and Jay High, we got off on kind of a weird note because we were going, my first Monday night here, we're sparring like kickboxing or whatever. It had been, I did not train for a year and a half.
Anything.
Nothing. Nothing. I just up and left and came down here on the 4th of May. And I walked into practice that Monday, and we had a hard 5 rounds in the morning like usual. And then we had another practice that night, 5 hard rounds that evening. And, me and Jason High went, and Jay High's like, let's go light. Or what? I can't remember what. Something like that. And I kicked him, and he's like, I said light or something like that. Punched him in the face. He's like, light. I'm like, gosh damn it, I'm down here pissing this guy off. Don't know who he is, but
head coach, one of the head coaches.
Yeah, I was like, man, I rubbed him raw. Then Tuesday night we come in and we do the Tuesday morning. It's just a striking technique practice.
Mm-hmm.
Come into jiu-jitsu, and Jay High's running jiu-jitsu. I get on top of him, I can over him, like where it's just like basically a neck crank or whatever. He's like, yo, bro, no. He's like, yo, bro, no can openers. That's bullshit. He's like, that's gonna hurt my neck. And like
Sorry.
at the time, like, gosh damn, like everyone's like, this is one of your coaches. I'm like, dude, they're gonna hate me down here. And then like we got on the same page like shortly after that, and like he's actually a Husker. He wrestled up in Nebraska.
Wow,
too.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and we got on the right page, and it was just funny. I always thought that maybe he was a little standoffish, didn't like me just for that. You come in and you don't want to step on people's toes. And then heck, he's one of my, he's one of my favorite people down here, and the whole coaching staff and the whole team's just treated me like, from day one, like I felt like family when I walked in.
Mm-hmm.
It's been great,
What's your relationship like with the head man, James Krause?
Man, he's hard to read sometimes.
That's what I'm saying.
That's literally what Josh said.
It's hard to read.
I don't know. He's hard to read. I think he. Like I said, he's a great guy.
Probably a good thing.
He's got a good sense of humor, and you got to kind of have that attitude that what he being the head coach is hard. You got to be able to have everyone respect you, and if you're not getting the respect for someone, that's a tough spot to be in.
Well, I'm sure.
And
100%.
And a bunch of guys that think they're fighters, that's even probably tougher to get along with. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But I got a lot of respect for James and like just his knowledge and just being a grinder. You know what I mean? He's a dog. So.
Who's going to corner you on FAC 12?
Usually I've been having Austin Ford and Jason Hyde corner me. If James is around, I'm sure he'll be in the corner, but it'll be one of those. You know what I mean? Those
like
three.
him and Jay,
What's the
Ford.
mindset behind the choice? Is it more I need somebody to pump me up? Because some guys like to get pumped up, and that's what they care about. They want somebody in there who can tell them the technical stuff that they can't maybe see from their perspective. Sometimes you stand too close to the wall, you get somebody on top of you. You don't.
Yeah.
You need somebody that. So what's your mindset behind who you're choosing to corner you?
You're pretty intense before the fight, aren't you? Like,
yeah, I mean, I just like.
I'll tell you, I was scared. I saw you walk into the ring, and I trembled a little bit.
I just usually kind of walk in, try to take care of business. But I don't know if you guys see my dad at the fight or my brother at the fight. The guys walking down the runway. I don't know if you guys pay attention to that. Them yelling at me on the way in. Like, I don't need anyone hyping me up in my corner because when I step out on that runway, I got a brother and my dad
crazy?
in my ear the whole way. And there's nothing that can compare to that. But. I like putting Jason and Austin in my corner, or James because, that's who I'm working with, Austin, especially Austin and Jason because, I mean, that's who I work with, have my individual mitt sessions with. And, they're just guys that make me feel comfortable, you know what I mean? And we have you got to have someone that makes you feel comfortable in your corner.
Yeah.
And
So
say
it's
the right
a
things when you
comfortability
need-
aspect.
Yeah.
It's,
I'm not going to put someone in the corner that hasn't been working with me for
well,
6 weeks.
and of course,
what I
that
mean?
would make sense.
And there's people that do that, and that never makes sense to me. Like,
Yeah.
have people there that are there for you and know what you're doing, know what you're working on,
Yeah.
so you know what's going on. You're
Know
on the
you.
same page, yeah. because there's a lot of people that just grab someone, a random person, like, no, we're buddies. Like, no, like you don't do that.
Do you think they do
Not
that
in this
because
game,
of
not in this game.
the buddy aspect, or do they do like they might grab somebody out of I think you're more knowledgeable, but I haven't worked with you at all, but I think I hold your knowledge to respect. Do you think people do that as well?
I think some to a point. Someone wants someone that a lot of people want the publicity of someone big in their corner, and I've never got bought into that. I mean, I like that I have coaches that are have a name out there, but I just want someone that I'm comfortable with and that works with me on the daily. I don't, I mean, you're not going to take a bow to a gunfight. You know what I mean?
True.
Yeah.
So,
everyone in there,
or a knife to a gunfight.
Everyone in that gym has like a ground up kind of story. They built their own name and their own respect in this sport. And talk about a guy that's like earned some respect, Bubba Grant, your opponent. He's no stranger. He fought a 4-0 guy in 2021. You're 6-0. He's coming off a KO in the first round. Like, how much do you respect Bubba Grant's game? How much are you looking forward to that opportunity to fight him February 6th?
I mean, man, he has so much experience. I mean, he's 8-6 on paper, I think, and then, I think Bubba Grant's probably been around long enough too that's before the Tapologies and all that. I'm sure he's got a whole boatload of fights.
2013 is, I think, when Tapology registered, but he could have
I
fought
bet he's got a
then.
plethora of fights before that. He's I know he's a strong guy. He's got pretty good grappling, and that's something that I haven't seen. He's got his striking, he's got experience. He's a knowledgeable striker. He's going to have his best fight too. These guys come in, they're going to have their best fight that night. When they're fighting someone that they can spoil the show, they're going to have their best fight. And if you don't believe that, you're not ready to go, and I really do that. He's got spoiler on his brain, and I just got to be ready to roll, but I do have a lot of respect for Bubba, and I know he's a tough dude. He's durable. I don't think any of his losses that he's had, I don't think he's ever been finished in a fight. I think it's gone to unanimous or split. I'm not sure. But, that says something for him. And I know that he's a, for a bigger guy, I know he's a cardio king if I'm right.
Are you a cardio king?
I'd like to think that, but I haven't got to show that yet.
That's true.
It'll be.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
I was gonna say it does look
us.
like he lost one fight in Shamrock FC back in 2016 to punches in the second round, but that was 5 years ago.
Yeah,
that's the only one on his record of an actual finish. So tough opponent.
Yeah, he's
tough. Opponent.
Yeah, you can't when you start putting guys into. I always tell people this. You start looking at someone's record. Oh, what is he? 8-6.
8-6. Yes.
You cannot look past someone because 8-6 because he's took tough fights too. Like he's not taking slouch fights. He's not building his resume. He's taking tough fights. Like he's
a fighter.
Tough fights. Yeah, he's there to brawl. He's going to show up every night, and he's going to have his best night. Like, I watched his LFA fight, and that kid was 4-0. I think that guy totally overlooked him. He didn't even look like he was ready to go. Bubba stopped one shot and then put it on him, So he's got spoiler on his brain, and hopefully I'm just ready to roll that night, show up and have my best fight. So
we've talked about this a couple different times on the show, and I think it's interesting. You look at all these different avenues for careers for different sports. Obviously, the NBA, you have the NFL, you have Major League Baseball. You have different avenues for players in college to go do different things. Now, we have seen countless wrestlers now transition over to some sort of mixed martial art.
Daniel Cormier, Isaac Dolgarian.
Yeah, I mean, the list is endless. I mean, John Jones. I mean, it's so funny. You look at. I always make the joke: who's got the most championships from a college perspective? You could technically say it was Mizzou if you wanted to look at Tyron Woodley or Ben Askren, who were both champions, or you could look at.
He tries to throw in a Ben Askren every show.
I'm an Askren fan, man.
Hey,
That's cool.
Let's go. He's an Askren fan too. Josh hates Ben Askren.
I don't hate him. I don't hate him.
He's got disdain for.
I just think like on the internet, if people talk about Ben Askren, it's usually negative.
Well, one of my trivia questions is usually what's like one of the top colleges for fighting, and it's
Oklahoma
Iowa
State.
Western. No, it's Iowa Western.
Oh, yeah,
they've
Iowa
had John
Western.
Jones and Colby Covington.
Yeah, isn't that crazy to think that they were both at Iowa Western JUCO? That's over kind of by me.
Both of them, I think, were national champ wrestlers at the junior college. So
where was Camaro?
Camaro was Nebraska.
Kearney?
He was at UNK. Yeah, and like Romero Cotton was from Kearney too. If you guys know who that is, he's in Bellator. He's good. Mm-hmm. He's up there. I think he had like a surgery or something like that. He's like at 185, I believe. But yeah, him and Romero was around when I was in college. both stud athletes, obviously.
So do you think that do you think it's people that wanted to get into wrestling were looking for another avenue? Was this just something that was kind of blessed upon the wrestling community to now have something that, one, is so dominant within the sport of mixed martial arts? Like, wrestling is one of the best bases you can have in mixed martial arts. That's my opinion. Maybe you have a different opinion. I don't know. What do you think is the best base, and do you think that this is actually an avenue now that has been created and has opened the door for college wrestlers who really there wasn't a big future after college unless you were going to the Olympics?
Yeah, with the, I think that wrestling.
I know that was a long question.
No,
so.
you're fine.
Yeah.
Along with like the wrestling side of things, I think it is a great avenue because you built up like this mentality, this tough guy mentality. When you're wrestling, like you always have to be sharp and crisp, and like you get done competing in wrestling, and then it's just like you don't know. You know what I mean? Like, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
Like, why not get and try this out?
We trained countless hours, blood, sweat, tears.
Their whole life.
And then to not really have a true avenue afterwards, like anybody who does that in football. I mean, hell, even I played college football, and I never really thought I was going to go to the NFL, but I knew there was an avenue if I truly decided to go. So, like, there's an avenue now all of a sudden that has exploded really onto the scene for collegiate wrestlers and quote-unquote tough guys who have really kind of made this mentality like, I'm going to beat your ass.
Yeah.
Regardless. Doesn't matter. So what, was that something that you felt before you even started doing college wrestling? Was it something you adapted afterwards? When did you think, hey, I want to make fighting a career?
Well, I mean, I almost got in my first amateur fight like before I went to my Ohio State for my freshman year. Mm-hmm. And I always knew that I wanted to fight, somewhat. And then long story short, I got in. Shout out to my ex-girlfriend. I wanted to fight, but she was always against it and said that her parents would be against it too. So I kind of like
said, I'll fight them too.
Yeah. No, so I kind of like laid off of it. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, I'm not gonna do it. Like whatever.
Because you seem like a respectful guy.
Yeah,
so
like
you respect
all right, I'll do this. And
choices.
The worst thing is, I started going out like after college wrestling or whatever, a little bit in it. Like, I'd go out and party on the weekends. Well, everyone was always testing me at the bar. Little guys, small man syndrome. Not
of course, Napoleon complex.
I have a little booze in me, you know what I mean? And then I'd end up scrapping at the bar, and I got into some pretty bad ones, like where I got into like, oh shit, like the law's involved, had to go. I actually went to I hope this is all right to say in here. I got into
say whatever you
I got
want,
into bud. I got into a scrap down at our local bar in Syracuse. Some guy was trying to pick a fight, and I was like, hey dude, let's not do this. And the son of a bitch punched me in the face. Well, I rocked him once, and like he had to get facial reconstruction surgery. So I had a loss. It was a long deal. My brother got tased over it because they thought it was me. It was a fucking mess. But anyhow,
you guys laugh about that though.
Oh yeah, we do. We got the video of it too because we had to.
Okay, you're gonna have to show us that. Here
yeah, I will for sure. I need to get it. I need to get it down here. I need to get it. It's on DVD. But we always laugh about that.
I'll be the guy in the background of
what is it, CCTV or CRTV or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Jesus.
But anyhow. So I got into a few bar scraps, and shit went south in our relationship then. She's like, I can't have this and whatever. Well, first person to pick me up off the, when I was getting in trouble, Derek Minner was right there.
D-Man.
Like, hey, yeah, he's like, let's get into the gym, and it wasn't that I really didn't like to fight. Like, I didn't like the fighting aspect. Like, I'm not a confrontational person. Like, I'm the easiest going guy ever. Like, even, I'm going out. I'm easy to get along with, you know. I'm always happy.
Definitely.
I always have a smile on my face, and when shit started doing that, and it's kind of an outlet, and Derek's like, come on, man, like, I think you could win a world championship, at that time, and that was at 24, 25, so a little late start, and I went in and started hitting pads with him a little bit, and we started, practicing, Minner had his gym there at the time, and started going there, and we had a really good group of, like, young amateur guys in there, like, just fighting out of this small town gym there, and we were this Merkin dude's like, we were putting it on people, and there for a while, I don't know if anyone from our team was losing, and it was kind of cool, like just the camaraderie we had, and started rolling into bigger and better things, and then I'm down here, so just one of those things that I went totally against, I wasn't involved in the fighting, and then it kind of spiraled down, like, shit, like I was sitting in court, on a trial, I had like the jury there and everything, and I was found not guilty. And the day that I was found not guilty is the day that I signed a fight contract. So it worked out.
What
I got
a
my way.
Blowing my mind, dude. You're blowing my
Yeah.
mind. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You've got a crazy good story, and
Crazy
you're a
good
crazy
stories. I was
you're a
gonna
good
say.
fighter too. Like you're a damn good
appreciate it.
fighter. And Anthony Garrett is no slouch. Max McKinney was so confident. I remember interviewing him pre-fight, and he had victory on his mind against you, and like that's a good opponent. That's a good name to your resume. And if you add Bubba Grant to that resume, I think you should be in the UFC.
Yeah. And like I said, I've expected it, so it's like not a surprise, and like I'm just looking forward to the opportunity.
That's great.
Well, you're gonna have one February 6th.
Dana White.
Yeah.
Dana White looking for a fight. He's looking for Nyle Bartling is what he's looking for. Now, Nyle, we've been tossing this back and forth, so I feel like we've all gotten to know each other pretty well now because
Yeah.
those are some intricate stories that you just told.
Now I don't know about you, Blake.
Hold on,
Okay.
I've always been curious. We're always curious like how people come up with.
I'm saying I don't know. You and Niall are cool, but I don't know about you still.
Oh, fuck you. We've always been curious about how people come up with their nicknames. Now we see, and we've like, you don't have one. You don't have one. All right.
You guys
Now-
want to know what I'm thinking?
Well,
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, we do. Because me and Josh have also secretly been giving you a nickname behind your back that you don't know about, and maybe you've heard it. Probably you've never listened to the show before, so you probably haven't heard us say it. But I want to hear what your nickname is that you want to give yourself first, or did somebody give this to you?
Well, I mean, we were just tossing shit around, and someone's like, "Oh, there's the thick hick." You know what I mean? Someone said, "There's the thick hick."
Introducing Nyle the Thick Hick Bartling.
That's
I
like
can see it.
Midwest
I can see
Midwest
it.
Chopper, thick hick,
There you
co-main
go.
and main event.
Yeah.
There you
Damn.
go.
What
Two
was
good
what did you
nicknames.
guys have in mind?
So
huh?
obviously, because
Nothing.
this is almost a double entendre of a nickname because your fucking fists are like shotguns,
Yeah.
right? Also, your tumultuous history.
Yeah.
So we've been calling you the shotgun dandy.
Oh,
shotgun
all right.
dandy.
Nyle the
Yeah.
shotgun dandy Bartling,
like
baby.
that.
Shotgun from got fucking 12 gauge for paws
That's
right here.
right.
Bam, bam.
And yeah,
knock you out.
Blake threw out just shotgun.
Just
Shotgun.
or just shotgun,
Shotgun
or
Bartling.
just shotgun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There for a while, I was thinking about the foot sniper. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Nah, the foot sniper.
Yeah, the way you handled it, it's like,
Yeah.
you'd be the guy to go by that.
Yeah,
you know?
I think they could be great.
My
I think
buddies,
it doesn't haunt you.
I get out of the hospital and I come home to my buddy Clint Mahoney. Mahoney Concrete is one of my sponsors.
there you go. Plug.
Shout out.
there
Plug
you
him
go.
real quick.
Yeah,
Whatever
there
you
you
need
go.
to-
Shout out.
But anyhow, he has a freaking sign on a big old 4x8 sheet of plywood in the front yard, and it says "Welcome home, Cheddar Bob." You know, that's 5
Cheddar
days
Bob.
out of the hospital. You know what I mean? Spray painted there. And then I had another buddy make me those foot sniper shirts. You know, I'm sitting there.
That's dope.
I get 3 foot sniper shirts, and
That's
it's just funny.
hilarious. Well, we're probably gonna have to snag some foot sniper shirts from
Yeah.
Is it still a thing?
wherever
Yeah.
we can
Still a
snag.
thing?
What's that?
You still make the foot sniper shirts? or-
We never made them. They made me 3.
Oh,
But I
okay.
could get you
They
guys
made you
some.
3.
if you
Hey, I
wanted
would
to.
love a foot
Yeah.
sniper
Yeah.
shirt
Heck yeah.
from Shotgun himself.
Yeah, that's right.
Final question for me, before we get into the trivia aspect of this interview. Trey Ogden won the last Lookin For a fight. Have you talked to Trey about that experience and anything like that? Have you gotten to be intimate in the moment with Trey and being like, hey, what's this experience like for fighting in front of Dana White? Since you haven't done it before.
Yeah, man, I guess I haven't taken the opportunity to talk to him about that. I congratulated on it, you know, and the other stuff, you know, when I was talking to Trey is, you know, we just talked about me maybe getting over to OP just to check that out a little bit. You know, he's a really good dude, and I'm really excited to see him in the UFC. You know, he
Me
put
too.
his time in, he's worked hard, you know, and it's so funny, like a lot of these guys I haven't known for long, but, you know, they're just the right people to have around. So, but I'll probably end up having that conversation, you know. It's been good.
Oh, yeah. Anything before
I
we
was
get into
gonna say
trivia?
I don't know if you're much for predictions at all, but if you could, the perfect fight for you, February 6th, Dana White looking for a fight. How does it go down? What's the finished product in your mind look like?
Man, win.
There. All right.
That's it.
By any means.
That's yeah.
If you like it or not.
Yep, win's winning. You know what I mean?
Perfect.
No one's going to remember how you win, but if you win, they're going to know you won.
Hey, a truer statement has never been spoken.
That's right.
That's
Well,
true.
hell yeah, Nyle. We're gonna get into some trivia here, but Nyle,
Should we keep this rolling or should we start a new one?
we can let's start a new one.
Okay.
Nyle,
Great interview.
Fantastic for
you.
joining us. We really fucking stories were killer. Those were absolutely awesome. We thank you for joining the show.
Shout out freaking
And,
Micah, baby.
Shout out
Micah,
to Micah for making us all look pretty.
Great producer.
Thank you, Micah.
It's easy when you have somebody who can tell tantalizing stories such as yourself. It makes it so much easier. When you have to
I can't believe that it's over already. Like, I mean, I
was
really
awesome.
enjoyed that.
Hey, the fun starts.
I'm
just
glad you
about to
enjoyed it.
start.
That was,
yeah.
we enjoy it. We
But
love
yeah,
it.
we appreciate you coming in, man.
Yeah, I
and
hope I
just-
did all right.
No, you did killer.
I really enjoy talking. Like,
Yeah, anything
I
else
get
you want to
going.
get out there
We're
before the
not- we're
fight?
still
Like
rolling.
anything
We're-
else?
We're keeping
Like,
all this. We're still rolling. So anything you want to?
Yeah. No, I don't have anything. I'm good. I just,
Real
Looking
quick,
forward to
craziest bar fight, like besides the one you had to go to court in, do you have like a crazy injury story from a bar fight, or like what you did to somebody else? If you want to talk about it, you don't have to.
No, man, we got into that bar fight at Barry's Bar and Grill. It's actually closed down now. It's like downtown Lincoln, and we fought a whole frat. I mean, I was out of college too, and some chick poured her drink on my head, and I was pissed off. Like, what the hell was that for? Well, her boyfriend got involved, and then the whole group was involved. And it was
Did you ever find out
me,
why
my
she
dad,
poured it
and
on your
brother.
head?
No, me and my brother. Just
it's a
dancing.
family affair.
It was a family affair,
a
man.
family affair.
It was a disaster. Yeah, I mean, it was a disaster. And then we get out there. They kick them out the front door. We get it back, and you come in, and we meet right in the middle. And then I this pumpkin slammed some dude's head on the ground, and then I ended up
Gronk spike it. Just,
I did. Yeah, it was bad.
That's how the Bartling family gets down.
Yeah, and then
That's how Nebraska gets down.
Yeah, something like that. I wish our football team could be a little better.
You might have to go give a pep talk or a speech about how to actually.
We are a sports
give
radio
the whoop
station,
ass.
We
Yeah.
can talk about football
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
All right, I think Joshua's got some trivia questions for us. We'll start a new one here.
I do. Thanks now. Thanks
Yeah,
for coming in.
Thank you,
Appreciate
guys.
it.
Appreciate it.